I'm working on an older 1980s sprinkler system, and this is an old sprinkler valve here that is a Richdel R-204. That last number there stamped as a 4. It kind of looks like a 1, but if you look at it closely, it's R-204. And I was disappointed that I couldn't get any parts for this because apparently it hasn't been made in a long time, but actually it turns out that I've been told that this diaphragm from the Irritrol 205 will fit, even though it looks a little bit different. It's dimensionally the same and it's compatible. Now I've already diagnosed this as a diaphragm failure. You can see I've got that solenoid disconnected. I already tested the solenoid, bench tested it. Solenoid's fine on 24 volts. The zone is getting power, so then I went ahead and opened up the valve, and when I took this jar top off, the diaphragm was actually in a couple of pieces. I just put the rubber part back in just so I wouldn't have stuff falling down there while waiting for the parts. But this is how that's the spring from the top, but that's how the diaphragm came out. So this was supposed to be on the bottom here, but it was just sitting on the bottom of the valve body in the water there. So if you're just starting out on this, make sure you cut your water off to the zone, or to your whole system I should say, and bleed out. You can bleed out the water here, or you can just turn the solenoid, just turn a little bit so some of the water will come out. I've already done that on this particular valve, so I'm going to go ahead and just turn the solenoid out so I can get a little better access to that these two fasteners here. And this is a free floating type here. I'll just use a Phillips head to remove those fasteners and then pull the top up. I've got all those fasteners loose enough now, and if you still have this type of solenoid in there, notice that there's an O-ring there. There's an O-ring, so don't lose that. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up now, and you'll see that the diaphragm, I just put it in like this just to keep dirt from going in there, but it was in multiple pieces. I'll show you a closer look at that. Here's the original diaphragm here, and when I pulled this out, it came apart as I was pulling it up. It wasn't stuck or anything, it was just in pieces, and this washer here was sitting right there at the bottom of the valve body. So this is supposed to go like that there, and there's supposed to be some type of fastener there. Maybe it might have been plastic, as you can see that's plastic in there and it's broken. I don't know what kind it was, but here's the new one. It's got a little metal nut there. So I just went in here and just sucked out the water in case there was any dirt floating on top of it. And then I went around and just kind of cleaned this valve seat here. You can see on this side it's got a little tab, which was not seen on the original diaphragm, and that's kind of cool because that hole there is not a screw hole. That's that hole there for the solenoid. So this here is going to fit like that, lined up with those bolt holes there and that one solenoid there. So you see how there's a group of 3 here that are close together, the holes, and then that's the normal pattern over there. I did take a closer look at the cap here. I washed it off. I took that O-ring out so I didn't lose it. And I just made sure that there wasn't anything obstructing that opening there for the solenoid and also for the bleed screw. And just looked at it, made sure there wasn't any cracks or anything like that, and it's good. It looks good. I bet you'd probably actually even be able to use the whole cap and solenoid from that same model, that Irritrol 205, seeing as the diaphragm is the same. So I put this metal piece back on here and just a couple of the screws, and we'll get it lined up. This is going to go back in this orientation. Remember, the solenoid was over here. In my case, the way the valve is. This stem's got to go back in through that hole, and the spring has got to get back on that seat. In the center of the diaphragm. So I'm just going to line that stuff up. Oh, and this little feature here on the lid, on the jar cap. That little feature there is for that's that path for the flow into the solenoid, and that's the one that's going right there by that little arrow. Not sure how much you'll be able to see, but I'll see. Give it a shot here. Just pull the spring back a little and get it through the hole and onto. Okay, so it is on there now, and I'll push it down over here. Oops, push it down and feel for that alignment. There it is. Okay, I'll bring this back over here, and I'll just go ahead and get these fasteners down a little bit. Don't knock anything into the hole there where the solenoid goes. So I got 3 fasteners in there. They're not tight, they're just holding that in place so it doesn't push back up at me. Now if you're going to use a drill to put these back in, just don't overdo it. Put the drill on a lower setting. You don't want to strip that because remember you're going into plastic. So I'll probably just get them going with the drill and then come back and finish them off with the screwdriver, and I'm going to do it in the typical gasket pattern. A little here, a little there, right? Not any one all at once. I'll just finish off tightening them by hand, a little at a time, all the way around, so I don't want to strip anything. None of these are crazy tight. If it leaks, I can go back later and tighten it up some. All right, get this O-ring back in here for the solenoid. Hopefully not knock any dirt in there. We'll get the solenoid in place now, and remember this plunger comes out, so make sure you have that plunger placed in there and your O-ring there. Let's see if I can catch the threads on this. Alright, there it is. Just get this down, hand tight, and I'll get this electrical hooked up. You can see this isn't exactly ideal, whoever did this electrical here. These are just regular wire nuts. Doesn't look like any of that's waterproof, so I'll have to come back in and improve that. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and hook up the solenoid, and I'm just going to go around it with electrical tape because I want to make sure this zone is working before I go wasting some waterproof wire nuts. Oops, and that just came apart. Let me get a better twist on that. Alright, let's see. Water's on, and as you can see I got a leak, so I'm going to try to mitigate that. Turn the water back off and just tightened up those screws a little bit more, especially the ones down here. Okay, got those fastened all down and got the bleed screw closed again. I'll turn the water back on and see if we get a leak. Looks like we're good now, no leaks. So go ahead and turn this zone on. And it looks like we got our sprinklers back, and the dog is celebrating. Hooray! They're so fun! Alright, so the zone is back on, the sprinklers are on, the valve is working. My last step here will just be to put some waterproof connections on here. You can use like waterproof wire nuts or grease packs, whatever works for you. I hope this video was helpful for you on your Richdel R-205 valve repair. And thank you for watching, and good luck with your repair.